And we are live.
Oh
Good
my
morning.
God, Jesus, here I am.
Good morning, Fantasmagorium. The program that we are proud to present is Missions, Matches, and Masks. 5 years after JJ, and we have our fourth directorial vision added to the franchise. Brad Bird makes the leap to live action and pushes the missions to get even impossibler. Obviously, Tom Cruise is back as Ethan Hunt, and he is joined by Paula Patton, Jeremy Renner, and the newly promoted Simon Pegg, co-starring Michael Nyqvist, Vladimir Mashkov, Lea Seydoux, Tom Wilkinson, and Ving Rhames. The stakes? Nothing short of global nuclear annihilation. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to discuss Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol. Should any of your team be interrupted or drunk, the secretary will disavow the stream. I am Scotty R37. Cat is out of batteries. Ernesto is snagged on a door frame. And Steve will fix anything that malfunctions too badly. Hopefully, Ben from Cinema Gulp will show up, just like Ving Rhames in this film at the end.
I was gonna say if you're gonna credit Ving Rhames, you gotta credit Michelle Monaghan too, because
that's true. That's true. And we'll get I do want to discuss Michelle Monaghan because it was so nice to see her, and that was an iteration of the script that was sort of toyed with throughout production.
And all of them are both her, Ving Rhames, and Tom Wilkinson were all uncredited too, which I thought was weird. But I guess cameo back then, you were uncredited cameo.
Well, and I think that's kind of the pleasure of the surprises. Like Ving Rhames wasn't in the movie. I didn't expect him to show up at all.
Yeah.
But
there was little reason for him to be anywhere, right?
Well, with Benji being the tech guy, we didn't need Ving. Or
he was going to be in the movie for sure. It was budget cuts.
Oh, really?
And he stood his ground. He's like, no, you're not going to fucking, throw me under the bus after being in 3 movies,
Good for him.
Yeah. No, I really,
fortunately for him, though, his part's great. The rest of the movie, not so much.
Oh. Well, that's okay. So that's interesting. Steve, what was your first encounter with Mission Impossible?
It was about
Ghost Protocol.
It was about 2.5. I'd started about 3 hours ago.
Oh, so today's first day. Nice.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Okay.
I saw the first one in theater, and I think I saw the second one. But that was like a drag me, or maybe the third one, dragged by my friends to see it.
Okay.
So the second one, no, I hadn't seen until I watched it in this series, and then from here on out, I haven't seen any of these movies.
All right.
So this wasn't. I didn't care for this movie. I didn't hate it, but there's a lot of. I know these movies there's a lot of coincidence, but this one there's a lot of coincidence. Like come on. That kind of thing. I was doing that the whole movie. Oh, come on.
Okay.
Like that, So that takes me out. I don't think it's so. I wouldn't put it on the same par as the second movie, which I thought was a complete waste of time because that second movie's crap. But it's not much better. I don't know. There's some good things about it though.
We'll discuss.
Yeah, there's some good things about it. I really liked the addition of Jeremy Renner, but I like whenever he shows up in anything. So I like that. I thought his storyline was cool. The overall story I thought was weak, but I did like. I'll say a positive was I did like the dialogue a little better in this than the previous movies. The banter was a little better. But other than that, I just wasn't really impressed with this movie.
Ernesto, what is your first experience with the aside? I know you pre-watched last week, but before that, what was your first encounter with the Ghost Protocol?
Well, I know I was in college at the time when this movie came out, so I think you can kind of pinpoint where you are in life with the Mission Impossible franchise because it's been going on along since I was a kid, and now I'm a grown man, and they're still going. So you can pretty much pinpoint your life's accomplishments and look back on where was I when this movie came out. So yeah, I was in college. I had moved from Puerto Rico to Arizona at that time when it came out, and I remember. I mean, right now I think it's my third favorite trailer when it was promoted in the franchise, and I remember walking out and thinking, if I were to categorize all these movies leading up to this point, the first one would be the silver screen adaptation of the series. The second one is the most stylized. The third one is kind of like a reboot, reset, and this one is the one where nothing works. And I always laughed at, oh yeah, this is the sequel where nothing works and it's all reliant on dumb luck, as they call it. But I had a great time watching this movie. I felt a little cheated in one of the actors that we see in this movie that came from Lost fame. I think it's Josh Holloway.
Yeah.
Because the way he was promoted in the trailers made it seem like he was going to be like a big key player. And sure enough, if you've seen this movie, it's like the Steven Seagal effect, only shorter. But I had a great time even rewatching it. I had a fun time and even laughed more because in hindsight, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is the movie where nothing works and everything was just funny. And it has that great scene with the skyscraper and the Burj Khalifa when I saw it in IMAX for the first time. So that was great.
Oh, I didn't know you got to see it in IMAX. That's rad.
Yeah, one of my first IMAX experiences in the States. Yeah.
Kat.
I can't remember if I saw this in IMAX or not. I do know I saw it in January 2012. I thought it was significantly better than the second one. I like that it's not as cheesy as the third one. Has certain like cheeseball elements in there, and that this doesn't have that. Villain's definitely weaker or total afterthought compared to Hoffman in the previous film. Because this one, like you mentioned, it's a lot of dumb luck and a lot of plotting and just intense action spectacles, but it's really fun. And I do credit the central sequence of trying to pull off the double meanings. Like that's such a fun, like trying to like it's not just action oriented. They're actually doing like spycraft type stuff, which I liked. And like you said, everything just keeps going wrong. A few negatives, of course, Luther not being really in it, and that was enough fans are upset about that they paid him what he was due for the next 4 movies to get him to come back. And I will get into it for some of the other things. I've seen it back then, and I watched it on the Blu-ray.
Oh, nice. That's the image that I think of, like the one sheet. That was it.
Yeah.
And they sort of fell into that afterwards. It was like, what is Tom? And it's a running gag with the Mission Impossible movies. What is Tom Cruise hanging off of now? Before, I just wanted to say hello to Lemon Pie. Hey, Lemon. And Phantom Organist. I'm glad that you're alive. Both of you. No, I think I watched the first half of this movie and then got to the Burj Khalifa, and then I think I might have passed out to it on like a late night after the bar kind of thing. I never saw it in theaters. Hey, DJ Play Nice to see him. But yeah, I think that my biggest complaint with the movie is, or at least it was the first time around, was the villain was so lackluster. Yeah. Like this was almost like, if you compare it to the villain, not Colonel Stewart from Die Hard 2, but the other guy, the higher up guy that they're trying to rescue. Colonel Grant is what I mean. Not William Sadler, but who is the bad guy from Das Boot in Die Hard 2?
I don't remember, because Die Hard 2 is so bad to me that I just don't care to remember it after seeing it once, maybe.
Well, and I'm saying the villain from Die Hard 2 was better. Like the mastermind was better in that movie than the sort of generic Russian nuclear extremist, because we've seen at least 3 passionate villains your mileage may vary with Dougray Scott, but like I got what was going on, and you only got your villain as an ideology and an icon for that ideology, and everything else was lackluster. Like even the Russian cop who was chasing Ethan, the Javert of the movie, far more interesting than the villain, and then he turns out to be sympathetic. This is one of those, I don't know, transitionary sympathetic villains in Hollywood, where like, well, no, it's not. That the henchman was a good guy. I don't think that's ever been done, so that's kind of clever. The biggest thing that I really took from this is the visual styling, and maybe it's because I like Brad Bird. I like The Incredibles. I like The Iron Giant. I like Ratatouille. Like I enjoy his framing, and it's amazing. And so when I was seeing things, a lot of directors would have done, no, tell them, write it better. And it's like, no, Brad Bird can show you. And I thought that it was visually striking.
So he really proved himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I wouldn't call the police guy chasing him a henchman. He's not a henchman.
No, he's not a henchman, but he's, I don't know how to describe him. He's I guess akin, if we want to talk within the sandbox of Mission Impossible, he's more like Kittrick. Like he's a good guy, but he's not, he's an antagonist, but he's still on the side of justice.
He's like the Shea Wiggum character in the last one, which we'll get to when we get there.
Yeah, he's a dog chasing a bone.
Yeah. But
and as far as good Russians are concerned, he's probably one of the better.
He's one of the better good Russians.
Yeah.
Another negative this movie had is after they made such a big deal about Ethan and Jules in the third one, that they go the whole Spider-Man route where I can't have relationships because what if somebody finds out? I'm like, that's such crap. It's like, like why are you doing that? This is kind of stupid. And I didn't like how Ethan was kind of a dick in two instances. One is when Brandt, as we know, is trying to get rid of the nuclear codes. He's like, no, Ethan, we're not going to give nuclear codes to a terrorist. And then after the mission fails, he's just, berating him for that. But Ethan tries to flip the script and says, who are you? Why don't you tell us who you really are? It's like, what the fuck do you care? As we find out later, he already pulled his papers. But even if we didn't know that, it's like, what do you care if he used to be an agent? The guy's obviously still on your side. It's like he's trying to deflect, and this is all your fault. And then at the end, when you find out what actually happened with Jules, because, Brandt felt bad because they failed to protect her. And oh no, Ethan set this thing up the whole time and knows that this guy's been blaming himself to the point of leaving. But I'm going to let that guy feel like a tortured soul and rot and make him feel bad.
Let him stew in it for a little longer.
Yeah.
Hello, Puppers. He didn't find out until the end of the movie anyway. It wasn't until after they left India that Ethan found out.
No, but even if he didn't know it was him, he still arranged that. He's like, I'm going to fuck this guy over. I don't really care.
I don't think that that's how that works.
That is kind of how it works, though. He deliberately brought in IMF agents protection unit, knowing they were going to fail, because he set it up to look like a failure to make it seem believable. So that way they would get blamed for the failure or blame themselves for the failure. So he basically brought in people to fail.
No.
Yeah. Well, yes, because like you said, he wanted to stage it to look like she was actually dead. So so the IMF agents brought in to protect her would believe she was actually dead, and that would weigh on them, and then it would look bad on their official paperwork, because again, if he wants to sell the idea that she's dead for real, that all the official paperwork has to say that no, she's gone, at least as far as the IMF is concerned. And he's just been kind of letting whoever was on the detail just stew about that and not really care. It's like, that's kind of rotten.
It is. But whatever.
Like that's one of those things that, I can understand your perspective on it. It's also something that I don't care about. Like it kind of informs, like I like Brandt. It could have been anybody else. Hell, it could have been Jean Reno and he would have been like, meh. Like you don't know the character of the man who, like, come on, like out of all of the IMF that we've seen so far, there's a good chance you're going to get a jerk.
Yeah, a 50-50 chance the guy's a traitor, a mole, or just a son of a bitch.
Let him stew.
Well, because he asked at the end of the movie, he said he pulled his papers long before then.
Matt G. No, at the end of the movie, he says, I pulled your papers after India.
After India.
Yeah. But I knew about it.
Well, he knew about it after the fact, and then he did eventually.
I thought
give
I
forgiveness.
thought the whole thing was that he knew that they had protection. He didn't know who the operatives were, right?
Something like that.
Something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, and
He knew there was. He absolutely knew they had a detail
yeah,
on it.
and at some point he realized that no matter how many operatives you have protecting you, they're always going to keep coming at you. So the choice was, okay, well, let me
Which doesn't make sense. Like Kat was saying, like he knew, but Ethan Hunt knew that going into the, to the relationship in the first place. Not like he just decided, woke up one day and said, "Oh, guess what? This isn't going to work out."
Yeah,
Well,
but that
he had
happens
been
a
a-
lot.
Dawned on
but
me
that-
that
Well,
that
he had retired to be an instructor at the third one, but at the end of the third movie, yeah, it's when he decided to go back in the field. And then I guess I don't love Jules anymore. I love Jules so much, but forget this relationship. It's like, yeah, that didn't really track.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But whatever.
Well,
A lot of the stuff that happens in these movies don't make any sense.
Well, and originally they were like, I think that there was rewrites that happened. This is where Christopher McQuarrie sort of behind the scenes comes on to assist with scripting, and the movie was a production. I think someone said it was a production nightmare, just in terms of, do you want to direct? To Brad Bird, J.J. Abrams says, "Do you want to direct a Mission Impossible movie?" And he's like, "Can I see the script?" And he's like, "Silly rabbit, scripts are for kids." And so, like, it goes from there. But for a long time, Jules was supposed to be dead. That was just the way it was, and it was going to be a different failure in Brandt's life and career. And so he was, but then apparently, and this is according to IMDb, which I do not believe anymore. So I'm quoting possible falsehoods.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why in a moment. But it was supposed to be Brandt was feeling bad about a different person who had died. And then it was like, so how is this connecting to the rest of the story? Is he just a guilty guy? He's in his own movie, quote unquote, from the falsehood website.
Well, everybody has a past, and that's what makes them interesting.
Well,
but if it ties into the actual plot, that's how you make a movie. Why did that happen? So the movie could happen.
Well, part of it was the studio was bracing themselves for the possibility that Tom Cruise wasn't going to land as much because he'd been in a bit of a slump in terms of the box office and critical reception to his last several movies, and they wanted to introduce a character who could potentially be his replacement in the series. So they said, "Oh, we'll have it be this analyst who has a former agent background, and we're going to cast somebody who the fans could believably think could be in this new role." And of course, Tom Cruise says, "Oh, that's not true." And of course, he's going to say that, but that was kind of the reason that they brought him in. But then the movie did well enough. This is actually the second highest grossing film of the 7 so far, globally. So that kind of was his first significant box office comeback. So they didn't
maybe made $694 million on a $145 million budget. Not bad.
And I credit to the marketing, especially that first trailer with the Eminem soundtrack. That one was like, oh, you're in for a different kind of Mission Impossible movie, and it was a very fun sequel. Like I saw it 3 times at the theater, and all 3 times that theater was packed. So that the movie was doing something right in the marketing. The one thing is funny because you bring up about what Brandt's character was going to be like to take over, and I remember in that trailer where he disarms Ethan, you're thinking, oh, damn, this guy means business. And if you follow the next sequels, it's like, oh, I guess we're not going to follow up on that. Okay.
Well, I remember from the marketing. Oh, hey, old man Bird.
Old man Bird.
Old man Bird. We're talking about your brother here.
I love it. I love it when you show. Yeah, exactly. Brad Bird. But old man Bird. Yeah, no, I love it when you show up at the beginning of a show. So we're not just like, okay, so what else do we want to talk about? So thank you. I appreciate you, and you're keeping the lights on. We're halfway, so we got 4 more of these to go.
Yeah.
I know from the marketing standpoint, they leaned heavily into the fact they did the whole Burj Khalifa stunt. That was a big part of the marketing. Like I remember going, I think I did see it at IMAX because they had the huge standee cut out to look like the Burj Khalifa with him actually climbing on it, and that was like
that was of course a great fucking scene. It was so beautiful.
It was, and of course he was on cables and wires and all that, but ILM, paints those out.
Yeah.
but it still looked amazing that they actually.
Did you see that?
Fair.
Did you see that picture he shared when he was doing one of those late shows where he took a picture at the top of the spire?
Yeah.
I'm just like, you madman! What the fuck? He's just sitting there, it's like, oh, look at me taking a picture at one of the tallest, if not the tallest, building in the world.
Yeah.
There was some weird editing. There was some weird editing in that sequence. Like, I mean, when he falls down and then clasps on to the glass.
Mm-hmm.
But then the very next jump cut, right, is he's back where the hole is, where he's gonna kick in the hole of the glass that he cut, and that cut was really jarring for me. And then at the end of the,
that's true.
It's just weird how that happens. You don't see him coming back up or how
he doesn't go back up. You're right.
Right there, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
No, I thought he did. He was putting his hands on the side and doing a leapfrog almost.
I don't recall.
No.
I think I'm kind of picking up with Steve, but I only watched it this morning.
I mean, that really stood out. And then there's another one when the lady, what do they call her? Bobcat, something like that, whatever her name was. When she's chasing the henchman at the end back into the TV station server room or wherever they're going, she's right behind him, and then it cuts to him pulling out all the server wires and stuff and kind of disabling everything, and she's nowhere to be found. I mean, she was literally right behind the guy, and then he has time somehow to get into the room, start pulling out all the wires, and then once he's done doing that, she comes around the corner. I'm like, this is what. So there's two those are two that really stood out. Like,
okay,
oh, man.
No, and I think both of those are valid.
Yeah, those are nice.
Something left on the editing floor, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I want to say hello to Nightmare Scene Destroys Most Superhero
Films ever made. Nightmare Scene destroys most superhero films ever made.
All right. Ghost Protocol is one of the best Mission Impossible films. Mission Impossible 6 is still the greatest, but 4 was really good. You know what? I haven't seen Mission Impossible 6.
I mean,
but out of the 4 that we've seen, I would probably go one.
I thought we were not ranking yet.
yeah.
No. But out of the 4 that we have so far, I would go one. I think it's 1, 4, 3, 2. I think that the only thing that this movie is lacking is a good villain. But aside from that, the rest of it, I like it better than the shaky cam in terms of the cinematography of 3. I'm glad that there's no real slow motion.
I would go 1, 3, 4, 2.
1, 3, 4, 2. Okay.
Just switch.
Still
in those two. Yep.
Hey man, I'm just happy you put it above 2. But we're not. This is.
It wasn't that bad. 2 was I couldn't stand that movie.
But can we agree that this is the sequel where nothing works?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like nothing works. The mask doesn't work. The laser pointer doesn't work. The technology is always on the fritz. Even the expectation of your mission, should you choose to detect it, it was going to self-destruct, and all of a sudden he has to smack it for it to. And I kind of liked it because I'm like, well, look at that phone. It's older than you.
Yeah. Welcome, Ben.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Scotty's muted.
You're showing up like Ving Rhames late. I made the joke earlier, so it's recycled. How are you, sir?
Wonderful.
Excellent.
What did I miss?
Well, the thing that we're missing so far is when was the first time you saw Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol?
I saw it in the theater in 2011. I remember I was still living in LA at the time. I can't remember what theater we went to, but I'm a huge Brad Bird guy. I didn't really care about Mission Impossible. I thought the first one was grown on me, but I didn't really love it when it first came out. Second one's just atrocious. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But the third one I didn't see till after I saw the fourth one. And I really liked the third one when I finally saw it. It's one of my favorites, but Yeah, I saw Ghost Protocol just because Brad Bird was directing it. It looked fun, and it was. So, yeah. Huge fan of that one.
Well, and when it comes to, oh wait, hang on a second, we have a question from the chat. Old Man Bird asks, has anyone asked Kat what T-shirt she's wearing yet?
You have now.
Yep. Fighting the Uruk-hai, White Hand of Saruman. On the back is his speech that he gives to the Uruk-hai to rile them up when they're going after the Fellowship from Isengard in the first movie. You will hunt them down. You will do not stop until they are found. You will taste manful. That whole speech on the back.
Nice.
And
Take it off.
Rolls Royce pendant thing.
Ooh,
You got bling.
I do.
we got that bling and that drip. All that's missing is the Riz.
Speaking of bling, Brad, when Christopher McQuarrie did the rewrite, he decided, Brad Bird and us, we all went to Cal Arts, so he put the Easter egg in there by having the Hanaway's ring has the A113 on it, which was their classroom at Cal Arts. And
then again, the Alpha 113, right? When he calls it in. Yeah.
Which is, of course, in all the Pixar movies, and now you got it in here. But this does, again. I mean, action-wise, it does feel like a Brad Bird movie, like The Incredibles and stuff like that. It definitely fits in with that. And it is very, again, plot like a Mission Impossible movie where you come up with the action scenes and the set pieces first, and then you write the story afterwards, which I think is partly why Kurt Hendricks is such an afterthought of a character, even though they got a good actor to play him. Michael Nyquist, was it Michael Nyquist?
Nyquist.
Yeah, he was great. Or he was a good actor, but they didn't use him very much. Did somebody say something?
Oh, no, sorry. I was talking to my dog. Sorry.
I think this one was the first one that finally felt like a Mission Impossible story. I mean, I guess the first one. I mean, the first one was more story and the action was subpar to what they were trying to do with it. The second one was just John Woo flying doves everywhere. Yeah. This one to me, like Brad Bird, just like you're saying, Kat, like his action stands out because it's not comic booky, but it's fluffy. It's not that gritty. I don't know if it's like poppy. It's colorful.
Yeah, it's a very colorful movie with as many exotic locations you could jump in there. Like even when Ethan runs into the sandstorm in the chase, there's a segment where where you have all the brown and the brown out, and then he runs down an aisleway and it turns red. Like
it turns red.
Or something. Yeah, it turns out like you're on Mars. Yeah. I love that chase sequence. That was really done really well.
That should have been a stale, ugly shot of desert, and it's gorgeous.
But that also gets into comic booky territory when the car crashes, and he's perfectly fine.
Well, yeah,
and we like it, and
the story just magically passes right when it has.
Right when it has to pass.
Everything just magically happens in this movie, but whatever.
Come on, Steve. He's got electrical. Got electrical gloves. The gloves, they just start circuiting out right at that moment.
Here's the thing.
Well, because I didn't
everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't care for the action in this movie that much, but what I did like was the use of all the toys. I thought that he did a real good job at showing us the spycraft toys. Mm-hmm. Even though that none of them worked, it was awesome to see that in these movies. So
I think that was something
that really got.
I think that whole blue is glue, red is dead is something that McQuarrie came up with when rewrites when they were trying to think of how to make the scene more interesting.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It kind of speaks to that whole red light, green light of the first movie as well.
Yeah. And I really liked, speaking of the first movie, of course, they brought back, what's his name? Necros, or whatever his character's name is, briefly. Yeah. And he has the same ski mask, and he's just, you gotta put this on again, which is funny. But
again, reoccurring characters, I think my biggest problem with this movie is it's sans Luther.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, budget cuts.
Until the end, but it's sans Luther. It might have been a scheduling thing, but
no, it was definitely it was budget cuts.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it was definitely a missing piese for sure.
Yeah.
And enough fans responded in the affirmative to that they made sure to pay him what he was due for the sequels. But I did like that whole scene, not just the action of the Burj Khalifa climbing on the outside, but all the trying to keep up with all the stuff that they're doing. I'm like, this is kind of clever. This is what Mission Impossible movie should have in there. And I like the twist that Hendricks has the mask on, because the only reason they don't kill Wistrom is because they need him to lead him back to Hendricks. But then it's like, and I like that Hendricks is smart enough to anticipate that they're going to be trying to do something to stop me, so I better make sure they don't know it's me. So that was clever. And of course, their mask machine doesn't even work in this movie. That breaks.
Yeah,
and you have the whole running joke of Benji wanting to put a mask on, which continues into the future movies.
But that's also, and I find it endearing. I think that it's great, especially like, and this happens. I know, I only really know it from like Doctor Who. There had been times where Tom Baker would look into the camera and say, "Not even the sonic screwdriver can fix this," or it's like, "Do you guys have tractor beams?" No, we don't have them installed until Tuesday. I do like it when you are in a technological film series and they say, no, this is going to be your ingenuity. It's like in Bond, when in For Your Eyes Only, when they just strip everything down. We're taking away your supercar right at the beginning of the movie because the previous one was Moonraker, and it was like, this is going to be more straight up and without the all the gadgetry. Although they still get to do their gadgetry, like even the laser cutter for the window blows up. I love it. It's like in Spaceballs. Fuck, even in the future, nothing works.
Although this one really was very convenient because with the gadgets, especially when they go to the Kremlin and they have that basically a mobile green screen. So
it's amazing though. It's so cool.
It's cool, but I'm just like, wait, you already had that packed in the van when they gave you the mission that you just happened to be in the same country where
you never know when you're going to need a magical green screen.
Exactly. So it was one of those very, very convenient plot demands that you have this type of technology right now.
That was a great the way.
Thing,
yeah.
And Ben, what did you think of the way that it visually glitched because it was checking out the eye line of everyone else involved? It was calibrated to one, and that's what messed it up. Is more people look.
Yeah. And that scene was primarily, in my opinion, played for comedy. So, like it had tension, but it was the music and everything. It was a nice kind of, pleasant, funny moments in the midst of the whole Kremlin scene, which is amazing.
With
but
Benji
it was just a really funny little bit with that,
With Benji kind of screwing up the whole time because he can't take the mission seriously.
I don't like
because he's a fan. He's finally working with Ethan.
Right.
I like when they're walking around inside the Kremlin. I'm like, hey, that's the room where they were with the Urma from Michigan and GoldenEye. In their border meeting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice.
I liked it because he was just being a fanboy and he was finally able to be in the mission and he's there with basically his idol at this point. So I'm just like, and watching Ethan's reaction to the whole time, it was endearing.
Well, and not only that, but it's almost like an Al Powell situation from Die Hard, where it's like, oh, he's kind of the funny comic relief for a while, and then at the end he shoots the bad guy. Like I thought that was a nice sort of, oh, Benji is useful.
Oh well, I liked when he dressed down the private behind the counter too.
That was cool.
That was
Igor.
Yes.
Why don't they between films, since he has joined the team, teach him how to fight? That time stretches that go between films, because each movie he never knows how to fight. It's like, dude, okay, you're not built for it, and you're the geeky guy, but you're gonna get us in more trouble than you're worth at one point. Like it's my problem with Benji. It's like, come on, Ethan, teach him some moves.
Plus, with that much time in between, you're gonna pick up some stuff, right?
Yeah. He never does.
In between each mission, he gets hair plugs.
That was another cliche that is a lot in these movies. Like, you need to check the computer, and it's like it's glitching, it's not working. Check again, and they're not suspicious as to why it wasn't working at the first time. Oh, there's nothing bad could possibly be going on here.
But that's also part of, in terms of cybercrime, a lot of that is social engineering and then finding yourself in a position of power above someone. It's like, I thought you would know who your boss was, and so he's already giving shit.
And same with the bomb that blew up the Kremlin. It was several explosions. It's like, I don't think he had that many bombs.
Yeah, that explosion scene was pretty nuts.
But to be fair,
it reminded me of that scene in Return of the Jedi where Han is running from the shield generator, and then it literally blows up 800 square acres of
Disneyland is gone.
Even though he only ducked into a ditch like 20 feet away.
20 feet away. Yeah.
Get back. But I don't know. Am I becoming more desensitized as we go through the Mission Impossible movies
No, I like
just
this
for
movie.
the
It's really fun.
fantastic?
This is a really fun
Oh.
popcorn movie.
It's a fun
This
movie.
one's one of the best. It's one of the funnest. I think.
I think so.
It's not.
I
my
mean,
favorite.
Hell,
a lot of
that prison breakout scene alone is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, and everything from like opening credits to all the action scenes, like, which is weird too, because the guy that edited this movie, which I think makes it stand out a lot too, is Duncan Jones' editor that does all the kind of weird Duncan Jones movies.
Paul Hirsch edited.
Paul Hirsch, yeah.
With Star Wars and other movies.
Yeah.
He was great.
Nightmare Scene says the storyline was well coordinated and the plethora of scenarios, nice use of the word plethora, sir, involved within the storyline kept me in near constant suspense. I thought it was very, very exciting.
Well,
I thought it was contrived, so I mean, the other way.
It's also one of those things where it's like, okay, I get that IMF is disavowed, but you know Hendrix is your bad guy, and the fact that the secretary was willing to help Ethan, then it's like, yeah, the secretary's dead, but there's got to be somebody in the government you can call to say, get eyes on Hendrix. Like they can find him for you just in case you lose him,
But
you know what? I'm sorry, because I showed up late and Steve just made me realize, I don't know, what are your guys' stances on this movie? Are there people that don't like it?
Steve didn't
I think I'm the only one that didn't care for this movie.
Okay, so you didn't care for it. Okay, all right, gotcha.
But I think that we gave it the same rating, didn't we? Like if we were to count
We
down
haven't
the
given
last
this-
4, it was like 1, 3, 4,
We'll
2.
get to rankings later, but
No, I know, but like we already said it. It's not spoilers.
Yeah.
But out of the last 4, we said the same thing, except I said, I think it's 1, 3, 4, 2. And you said it's 1, 3, 4, 2.
6, 4, 3.
Two.
I haven't seen 6.
yeah,
I
Steve and
yeah,
Scott
I
haven't seen
the
the
rest of them
others.
yet.
Yeah, like after this, it is free and clear. I don't think I've ever seen another Mission Impossible movie. This is the first time or second time, but yeah.
Well, you're in for a treat, my friend. The next 2 are pretty good.
I've been getting excited with each installment, although I knew that 2 was going to be a speed bump. Big shout outs from the chat from Fantasmagorium saying, Ben is here. Lemon Pie saying, hey, Ben. And I believe that Old Man Bird misspelled your name saying bling. Oh, no, it was for
my bling.
Your bling. Sorry,
Lord
Kat.
of the Bling.
Lord of the Bling over there.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
Rolls-Royce
zoned
bling.
out as soon as she started whipping out her precious.
Freudian slip, my lad. You.
Oh,
That
thank
is a
you.
cool shirt, though, Kat.
Yes.
And Ernesto. Shout out to the puppy.
The puppy.
The puppy.
And Old Man Bird says Phantasmagorium like button has been stroked for the algorithm as directed
Yes.
by DJ Playnice. Thank you very much.
Brought the lube.
And Old Man Bird thinks he may have seen this one. So that's great.
This is one of those movies that I don't think you could forget you've seen based on the building scene alone. Like if you've seen that scene, you're gonna remember that scene.
I don't know. This is
I
the
remember-
thing.
I remember
It
being
was-
disappointed that they spoiled the detonation of the Kremlin in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah.
Was like, why would you give that away in the trailer? It's like, come on.
They spoil all these movies. That's the problem with these later ones. Is
Yeah, I'm
hey,
not
let's
watching
watch
the
Tom
trailers.
Cruise do his stunt from beginning to end before you've seen the movie, and then when you see the movie, you're like, okay, well, I've seen that 15 times already.
Right.
It's the McBain. It's the McBain syndrome. Why would I rent the video? I've already seen the best part.
Yeah, but I think it depends on where they put it, because at least in the sequel that follows this one, that stunt was in all the trailers, and it's done in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then you have a big surprise after big surprise in the later scene.
Yeah,
So it works. So it works in where they position the stunt, but at least for this one, you were waiting for the skyscraper scene to come in. Like they have built it up, and you're just like, oh my god, how's this gonna work? And it is very tense.
it is very tense, and they didn't show you that much of it in the trailer, so that's good. Like, but you're right. It's almost like if you're scared of heights, that movie gets you, man. That scene gets you.
And if I recall, it wasn't long after the Burj Khalifa had opened that they did this, right? I mean, it wasn't that old of a building.
No, it's a fairly new building. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like showing off to everybody. Hey, check out our you know.
I'm surprised to hear that. I don't remember seeing the trailers for this movie, and I wasn't a Mission Impossible fan, so I didn't go seek them out at the time. But that part, the Kremlin blowing up, was a good surprise for me, and
that's good.
One of the better parts of the movie, I thought.
Hashtag don't watch trailers.
And that really sucks to hear that they spoiled that.
Yeah, I remember that in the trailers or TV spots or something. I'm like, oh, geez.
That sucks, man.
I know for a time there was one thing that trailers were doing that was kind of annoying me, is that they focus on very specific beats, and it was very distracting because then you're watching the movie, and if you remember the trailer, I'm thinking in my head, okay, this scene has not yet happened. So then you're just sitting there waiting for the scene to happen. When it finally happens, I'm like, oh wow, they put the end of the movie in the first trailer. Hell, even most of the posters with Tom Cruise in the jacket is basically him walking into the shadows at the end of this movie,
which is him getting a mission setting up the next movie.
Yes, exactly. Even in the last line of his mission, it says the name of what's going to happen in the next one.
I will say they didn't give away much about how this movie ends, which is probably its weakest part for me personally. It feels like a Fast and Furious ending, sort of.
I kind of dug that parking garage. I saw that how they.
I like the execution, just not the idea.
No, I meant like the whole technology of it, where you drive your car in and it takes like an elevator and shuffles it around. I thought that's really neat, and I thought that was kind of fun. I thought that
we have Carvana in every section of the globe.
Yeah,
I thought that was a fun fight scene, and I like that Hendrix. When Ethan has him cornered, he's like, "You're caught. You can't go anywhere." He's like, "Haha," and he commits suicide.
I would like to show you my collection of art.
I like his face at the end where he saves the day and the nuke doesn't go off.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I like that. But you see the look on Hendrix's face where he's just like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me! That worked." And then he just goes
again with these movies. The fight scene especially with this villain took too long. This guy, 2 punches. That guy's never getting up.
Well, you must have loved part 3 then, because that's a very quick, abrupt death. You know?
Well, in part 3, they also had Ethan with the severe migraine thing, so it would be believable that Owen Davian can get a few hits in.
I mean.
But also, even though Hoffman wasn't physically imposing in that movie, he was so good being intimidating that you still bought
the best. He's the best villain out of
everything. I meant that you still bought him as like a physical threat because his acting is so good at being intimidating. Whereas Hendrix was just kind of like, okay, you're a guy who has a philosophy, but and the fact that he never really espouses anything in this movie, it's like they're literally watching an old video of him talking, and before he finishes giving his speech, the audio trails off because they want to focus on another part of the scene because that's how much of an afterthought he is as a character.
Yeah, Hendrix was a disposable villain to me. Like this movie, it wasn't about how strong the villain was. Like you get into that in 5 and 6.
Yeah, in 5 and 6.
Oh, in 5 and 6, big time. This one, I agree. It's like he's very forgettable, but it's everything else that's worked so well.
Right, it's the ride. Like in the third one, they made it very much the intensity of the bad guy, which is why they started with the scene where he's doing the countdown. Whereas here, they made it very
Tom Cruise. Sorry, go ahead.
Whereas here, they made a very deliberate choice where, okay, we did the villain story. This time, we're going to do a fast-paced kind of plotting thing to see if the audience rolls with it.
Yeah, it was time to, because 3 was kind of dark too, It's still fun, but if you guys remember, or you probably talked about this last week, but when Tom Cruise did his couch jumping incident, they redirected the marketing of the movie to Philip Seymour Hoffman, and most of the trailers are Philip Seymour Hoffman. You don't think I'll do it? A bunch of those scenes, and just basically Tom Cruise in the action scenes here and there. Like they really redirected the marketing because Tom Cruise loves to jump on couches. So
it was so good to be a teenager at that time. I really didn't give a shit about that.
You know what?
What?
I was in
I
my.
Still don't care. It's like wow.
I was 30 something when that came out.
I'm just saying, I get it. In hindsight, I get it, but I'm like, yeah, okay, he jumped on the couch, so what?
I know it's like I think it's it's tabloid bullshit, but I also like the visual image.
Yeah, but you can dismiss the 90s like it's your job. But if we
Right.
lived through this bullshit,
Right.
you can dismiss that just as easily.
Yeah,
I don't
we're
think
living through bullshit now.
Well, I know, but
Yeah, I
we're
still
speaking
look- it was
specifically
bullshit
of
back then.
this,
It was
ladies
bullshit
and gentlemen.
It was bullshit 20 years ago. It's still bullshit now. So I
Yeah,
like
but the guy
visual.
did push a lot of stuff that was unpalatable, like in
No,
terms of the star power.
We're talking about the couch incident specifically. That was bullshit.
Yeah, and that was unpalatable. Like, and this is, someone was asking me when I was watching this, and it was like, I was like, this is really exciting. I'm having a good time watching this. And I think I gave up on Mission Impossible because I thought that Tom Cruise was such a twat when this came out. Like, I think
that's why it didn't do, that's why 3 didn't do well. Yeah.
And so when this, and I was still like, even when we get to Oblivion or Edge of Tomorrow, I'm still of a mind. It's not really until the explosion of Tom Cruise that happened just prior to Maverick that everyone was like, oh, okay, you know what? He's fine again. There was still distaste from folks of a certain demographic.
No. His box office and critical potential had come back long after that. Like Edge of Tomorrow was 2014, and that was a success for enough people on the home video market. And then Rogue Nation and Fallout did really good business as well.
Fallout almost made $1 billion. It came close.
That's fine.
791.
But it was still unpalatable for me.
Who cares if he jumped on a couch?
I don't know.
But I can't be alone. 50 million Elvis fans can't be wrong.
I would have jumped on everything if I was sleeping with Katie Holmes at that time, So,
but
if I were to track a moment where people just stopped giving a shit and they were embracing him again, is when he showed up in Tropic Thunder as Les Grossman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone on to say he wanted that role to get back with pop culture and young people and stuff, and it worked.
And not only did that
totally
work,
worked,
but then he showed up at the MTV Movie Awards and he danced along J-Lo to her song in costume as Les
now
Grossman.
Who doesn't?
That was perfection.
Now who doesn't care about People Magazine bullshit?
That's the thing. It's the same difference. It's that bullshit. It's the couch bullshit. It's all bullshit. Doesn't matter.
Well, no, but one's positive, and the other one is grappling around also the Scientologist stuff, the South Park stuff, the Matt.
Yeah, there's a mix of
good movies.
It wasn't just the couch thing. That didn't happen.
He makes good movies, so that's all I care about.
All of a sudden.
Well, and Old Man Bird has a great point, and this is one of those things that happened with Tom Cruise, as it's happened with many actors for me, and if it's happened to other actors for you guys, let me know, especially in the chat. I want to hate Tom Cruise, but I do enjoy his characters, and that's where I was like, I don't care anymore. So I am with you, but it just took me a while to not care anymore. But you guys obviously weren't affected by it at the time as much as
I never was. I like I said, the guy makes great fun movies, picks good roles for the most part. So I don't care,
Yeah, it's like I still went to see the new Bad Boys movie. I didn't care that Will Smith was in it. It's like I was looking forward to Chris Rock.
You're a traitor.
No, I said I look forward to Chris Rock grilling him, and I thought he was a pitch for what he did. And I love when Chris Rock grilled. Everyone was watching it, but I still went to see the new Bad Boys. I didn't care.
And if anything, the only person
that shit,
And if anything, the one person who got it the worst was Jada. After all that,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, really.
But back to what I was trying to say before we went on this pop culture tangent.
On the Phantasmagorium, heavens.
I love the visual ending of this movie with the missile flying right towards the Transamerica Pyramid and the rear door clashing behind it. When Tom's like, mission accomplished, and then Luther is like, you actually said that, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Out loud.
And then the news tries to play it off as like a satellite or some type of object fell from space junk fell from the sky.
I don't know if the physics works the way that it does in the movie, but I get the visual thing of like the missile slowed down and abruptly stopped, bursting. So it's like, like,
oh yeah.
I think it should win. Whoop 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 whoop. That would have been funnier.
But it's an ongoing theme, especially once all hell goes, tits up at when they meet Brandt and Wilkinson for the first time, and then the car gets tossed into I guess, was that the river?
Yeah, the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it was tossed in there and then they were able to escape, Brad goes like, "That actually worked. How did you know that would actually work?" And at that point, I felt that Brand, whether that was the original character intent or not, or however many rewrites happened, he was speaking for the average audience member. I'm like, oh, that actually worked, because he was like, everything around him is super spy, super fiction-y, everything, and he's the only one that feels like he is the most grounded of the people, and he is questioning everything.
I 100% agree with you. Like, Brant is like he's the catalyst. You know, it's like we're kind of like when he finally shows up in the movie, he can't believe these things he's seen, and it's almost like breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, good point. Good point.
Which doesn't make any fucking sense, because
he's not an MI agent, you know.
Yes, he is. That's part of the plot, is that he was. So I think that
my bad. You're right.
He is just as bad an MIF agent. I'm glad he felt bad because Jules didn't die. And it's like, well, because you're a shitty agent there, man. Yeah, you got good hand-to-hand combat, but
I love
you
Brent
don't know how to distract. No, I love Jeremy Renner, and I think he's great. But he's
great in this movie. He's really good.
First, if you want to look at the story structure of the movie, the reveal that he knows or he's taken aback by the strategies of Ethan Hunt, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm guessing.
In fact,
my
Hunt
only
know.
Scotty, my only stretched guess would be that only Ethan Hunt's crew gets to do these crazy gadget, wild, like the rest of the MI agents are more like just CIA people, and they just have guns and fights and stuff. And only Ethan Hunt gets the, you know, all the crazy face shifts. And
I thought it was kind of a you know, since they cast Tom Wilkinson as the secretary, I kind of jumped in there. Remember when they get shot and was like, holy shit. It's like they cast Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah.
I'd watch him.
Takes one right to the forehead.
Yeah.
And he came in very disheveled. His character introduction was very disheveled. You can see him in the car. His tie is loose. His hair is all over the place. He looked like he just ran a marathon. And I'm like, where did you just come from? Did you come from a bender?
Probably after the Kremlin blew up and knowing what was going to happen back in Washington. Because he says
he just
got awarded a prize. Because he said he had just accepted some type of commendation from the Russians for their friendship. And now they're public enemy number one in Russia.
Yeah. Because in the trailer, he was always saying, your mission, should you choose to accept it.
Well, and it makes sense that he would be on a bender, because at the end of that conversation, he's like, Ethan, I love you, man. And then he gets shot. But one of the... Sorry.
You're my favorite.
Yeah. He had to be on some kind of vodka.
He said, Ethan, you always fear what you don't understand.
Now, apparently, they were trying to get Gene Hackman.
Oh, that was never going to happen. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you know, Shatner was trying to get Sean Connery for Star Trek V, so everyone has dreams. But
Hackman was fully retired for like
Hackman had long since retired.
By this point.
Well, when was Welcome to Mooseport? It doesn't matter.
They filmed it in 2003, so and this didn't come out till December 2011, so that's at least 7 years between him full on retirement.
Well, either way, he's not going to be in any of the future installments of Mission Impossible.
I'm kind of glad he didn't take that role, because I don't want the last thing we see Gene Hackman do show up to get shot in the head like that.
Is die, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, this is probably the first.
Die of carbon monoxide poisoning in a movie. That would be weird.
I think this is probably the first movie I saw with Leah Seydoux.
Oh yeah.
I think so too.
And she doesn't age, because she looks the same today as she did back then.
Dude,
she has aged phenomenally.
She is scorching in this movie, man.
Yeah.
I would like to show you my collection of art. I love that.
Like if I were to make a comparison, she is the Xenia on the top of this franchise. She comes in, she's hot, she is smoldering from start to finish, and you hate to see her go away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's moments where I was like, man, Josh Holloway. Oh, because that would have been cool if he was on the team, you know, like, yeah, sometimes they interchange the teams when, like, I think this one had one of the best teams, you know, and then
Yeah.
some of them
Paula
go
Patton's
away.
character annoyed me though. She was being so petty, and it's like, dude, you're literally trying to stop terrorists from getting all the nuclear launch codes, and you're letting your grievance over your boyfriend get in the way of retrieving nuclear launch codes.
Did you
Right.
see Mission Impossible 2 when it was just a love triangle?
Yeah, and we didn't like that movie, remember?
I know, but what I'm saying is that IMF agents sometimes do that.
That was also in the. Granted, it was also a bad movie, Star Trek Into Darkness, where Uhura's interrupting the mission when they're on their way down to what planet was it where the Klingons are, and she's like, "Just a minute, Captain." She's
Kronos.
fussing
So she
with
can
Spock.
bitch out Spock.
Yeah, she can bitch out Spock. It's like, dude, you are on a major mission right now, chasing a terrorist into enemy territory. Shut the fuck up and pay attention to your
Yeah.
job.
What's the guy? I love the actor. I think he was like the host of the show on Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog
Oh
Millionaire.
yes, Anil Kapoor.
He's so funny and great in this movie.
He's really funny.
He is a
Yeah.
great cad.
That he is.
One thing I like about this movie is that prior to it coming out, this one to me felt like it was the most international of the four. Because, yeah, in the previous movies, you know you're in a different location. They even tell you in like the bold yellow or white letters at the bottom of the screen of where you currently are. But this one, it actually felt like we were somewhere else. We actually traveled to a new destination. Like out of all of them leading up to that point, this one felt like the most we're traveling the world on a mission chasing villains.
100% agree once again. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really
man.
does. It feels globe-trotting, the epicness, the locations, the specific locations that every big set piece takes place, you know? Like 3 feels like it's in like Jersey or something, you know? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really, but you know what I mean? Like it does feel a lot less globe-trotting. This one feels the most globe-trotting, I think.
It lets all of the locations breathe. You're still there. You're still taking in the scenery. And I think that's the effectiveness of staying on the skyscraper and staying in India for that long of a time and being exposed to the culture, whether it's just the design of the building or the people. I'm like, yeah, this is working to the movie's favor.
Yeah,
Well,
it has almost an Indiana Jones feel. Sorry, Scotty, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say an international spy thriller. And I think that the first one was sort of oppressively gray because it was Europe.
Yeah,
and the second one was orange because it was in Australia. And as you said, the third one suffers from looking like it was made by a guy who primarily directed television. And
that's because it was.
Good television.
And the third one, or the fourth one, it does, like, there is a tourist's eye to these locations.
Yes.
And it does show off the beauty of where you're filming.
That's
Which
right,
it really helps. And again, that's Brad Bird being a visual director.
It's Brad Bird that made that difference that we all see in it. It was Brad. I mean, obviously the script has them bouncing around, but Brad Bird used the locations, you know, God bless location scouts. They don't get any credit. But yeah, again, it's the set pieces. Ernesto said, letting it breathe, you know, and then Scotty said, it's like the tourist view of it, you know. The other movies, it's like, okay, it says, oh, we're in Rome. And then it's just,
it's like
okay, you know, it could have been anywhere.
It's like in the second one, Utah, Spain, and Australia all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
That's
they
true,
do,
yeah.
Well, they're just in a bunch of like dark, steamy boiler rooms in part 2, you know, and doves are in there for some reason, nesting, I guess. I don't know.
And the first one had, I mean, you could tell they were in the studio. There's some, you know, warehouse somewhere. It's really bad. Some of those sets. Those set pieces.
Well, in the Vatican.
You know, it's cheap when Kerry Russell shows up.
No.
Jedi Master's here. Hello, Master. Hey, folks. Hey, it's good to see you.
Yeah, this fourth one primarily has all the color and the locations and the gets going for it, like all the different little action just racing through that as you're trying to get to the race to the finish.
Well, and it's also like it has been made fun of in terms of Tom Cruise running everywhere. But it's so interesting to see a person who is running where you don't know the geography. Like, people talk about action scenes being staged, and it's like, oh, you know where everything is. And this one, you're purposefully put in a place where you're with the character and you have no idea which way you're supposed to go except for the thing. Like it's almost video game-ish, where you have to go, you have to travel with your tracker, and it's like, okay, we got to go this way, we got to do this way, and I don't know if that's a indication of incorporating video game logic into filmmaking.
No, that makes perfect sense, and I think Paul Hirsch has a lot to do with that as well. Like the editor knowing when to move things from really big, long, establishing movements to close-up movements. Like Tom Cruise running, you're always going to get 3 different angles of that. You're going to get a big drone overhead shot of how fast he is, and then that close-up of him coming at you, and then the side view, you know?
Well, but and that was one of the most visually, and there are many within the film, but the one where it's the sandstorm and it's blocking out the sun and the shadow is chasing Ethan and not Hendrix. And it's like, okay, things are bad things. This is a tsunami of awful coming your way. And I thought that was imposing, because you know that it doesn't matter what the weather is like. It's, Ethan's going to have to still chase the guy. And then when the tracker starts saying, oh no, he's coming at you rather quickly, and he gets hit by the car. Yes, it's unbelievable. I like how he gets hurt for approximately 4 minutes. And then, then we're back at it. He took a nap.
Regarding the joke that everybody makes fun of Tom Cruise while he's running, apparently recently he told Glenn Powell the same thing. It's like, you need to practice your running and watch yourself when you look like you're running, because you look silly. And I thought to myself, no, Tom, I think it's you who looks silly when you're running, because nobody else I've seen run in movies look like, especially in the third one, which is the most egregious, when he's running to where Davian is at the end. He's like, it's okay. And he's going like karate chop while he's running.
That one is all side view, right, Kat? It's like tracking. It's trucking along with him because he's kind of that is pretty funny. But that little slice of irony that they hire the strangest looking running person in the world to play the Flash. Oddest looking run I've ever seen in my life, and that's who you pick to be the Flash.
Anyway. I love Daisy Ridley, but when she runs, she looks like an orangutan. She's all like this.
Play that again to see it.
I like to see y'all record yourself running for a change. See how you like it.
I'm a smoker. I don't have a short enough frame rate. I'm like 4 steps and I'm wheezing.
Oh, I pity your dates.
Oh no, I can hold a push-up.
I don't know why.
Push-up, so you're a one-done man.
I don't know why you'd want a video of me running, but
I'll explain it to you when you're older. Sorry, Ben.
No, that's okay.
I ran track in high school. I don't know if that means anything.
No, it's
But then,
fine.
as we see in this movie, Benji is the only other team member they brought back, because it's like, the third one wasn't as popular, so we're just gonna blame Maggie Q and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and sorry, you guys can't come back. And we would have brought Luther back if we were too cheap. And
you shouldn't have killed Carrie Russell. She would have been a kick-ass character, but that's
probably
what sets the plot in motion. Obviously,
right.
I know, but
and that's like, we can't afford Luther, but we can afford to bring Jeremy Renner in.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he was a 2-time Oscar nominee at that time, but yeah, I guess you're right. He was at the top. He was at his highest peak.
I guess they prioritized him because they were, again, feeling out the possibility that he would replace.
He replaced.
You know what? And I'm glad they didn't replace him, but I wish, and I don't want to jump ahead, Kat. I know you guys are going to do the other ones, but I just wish they could have found a better place for him. But there's people that haven't seen 5 yet. What's that?
But
it's not much of a spoiler to say that Jeremy Renner said that his Avengers schedule started coming into conflict with filming for Fallout, because they were going to bring him back for the 6th one, and then he just couldn't do it because he was committed to Avengers because of contractual obligations.
When you can even tell in 5, like, he wasn't there that much, not like this one. But anyway, sorry.
That was also
I really liked his dynamic with the team in this movie, and I wish that would have kept going. He doesn't need to replace Tom Cruise.
That was
Sorry.
also an Avengers 2 scheduling conflict because he was again a big character in Age of Ultron, and that had the same
Same
film
summer.
schedule. Same film
summer,
schedule
yeah.
as the fifth Mission Impossible, which is why you couldn't really do much for that.
When was the Bourne Legacy?
The year after
2016.
20,
Oh,
No,
Bourne Legacy
2012.
2012.
No, 2012.
Yeah.
That's-
We
yeah.
said 2012.
I always
So,
felt like
but-
Bourne Legacy was the one that kind of put a nail in the coffin of him being a leading man.
Really? I liked
Yeah,
him in
because
that
Bourne
movie.
Legacy didn't do anything. They had to bring Matt Damon back into the franchise because it wasn't going to work with Renner. And then Renner has been, for the most part, a supporting character in most of the action movies he's been in. Even
That wasn't really his fault, though. The biggest thing that people didn't like about it is that they called the movie The Bourne Legacy, and a lot of fans thought that still meant Jason Bourne was going to be in it, and then he wasn't, and they thought they were doing a Jason Bourne movie, and it's like,
Well, they regretted that later, and they made a show called Treadstone. And I think they wanted to name it something like that, but they're like, people might not know what it is, so they put the Bourne name in it. But they could have done a Treadstone movie and just Jeremy Renner's Alex Cross, or not Alex
That's
Cross.
one thing Hollywood needs
Aaron.
to. Hollywood needs
What,
to.
along came a spider?
quickly. They need to
What-
fucking stop treating the goddamn audience like morons, like fucking children.
right.
But
Kinda
the
like when
audience
people
is
say-
morons, yo.
Well, no,
No,
but
no.
it's like when people say, "Oh, we can't have the James Gunn Batman going alongside the Robert Pattinson Batman." Fans will get confused. Like, no, they won't.
No, they won't.
That's stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
stupid.
everybody's got a smartphone. They know what's going
Does
on.
anybody know why Robert Pattinson can't just be the James Gunn Batman? Sorry,
'cause it's
topic for
very-
another time, but
Yeah, that's a
it
whole
seems
other
like
thing.
it seems like it goes together like lamb and tuna fish to me. You know,
Not really.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not after seeing that Superman trailer. Completely different universe.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, just
I say-
over the hill, there's no kaiju. It's just it rains every day.
It is. Yeah, Kevin Spacey's the villain. But I do find this really exciting. Also, I did want to say specifically why I don't like IMDb trivia, because that's the extent of the research. That's the quality programming that you're tuning in for when it comes to me. I watch the movie, I go to IMDb, maybe I'll skim the wiki. I don't have any hardcover books for Mission Impossible.
The wiki's
Or-
probably less reliable. So-
Well,
I don't know.
I
I'm
don't know, man.
keeping pretty unreliable,
And
Yeah.
here's why, Steve.
except for
I
the
look-
cast.
And it said, yeah, you can go and look up the cast and crew, and it'll work out. But the thing that really bothered me is that it was like at the end of the movie, Tom Cruise introduces Luther Stickle as Luther Stickler, and I was like, no, he doesn't. And so I watched the movie, and no, he doesn't. So that one from IMDb. If you have an account on IMDb, go to the Ghost Protocol and go down into the trivia and just say thumbs down, not true, fake news. That's my anti IMDb trivia rant, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk.
TED Talk.
But yeah, like I do think that this is good.
I think it's kind of along the lines with Scorsese when he talks about amusement park rides, because that's kind of what this movie feels like. Because to Steve's point, I agree with Steve that the plot and all that's totally half-baked. It totally is. But because it's Brad Bird and it feels so colorful and energetic and different and set apart, it works as an entertainment, as a piece of entertainment, which is obviously all this is, because these movies aren't like deep or anything.
Yeah,
there's
But they get significant. But they get better with McQuarrie when he takes over directing duties.
But even McQuarrie, like, there's two different types of. There's going to be 8 movies soon. There's 2 different types of Mission Impossible movies. There's Part 1, Part 5, which yes, there's stunts, but the overall plot, dare I say, slightly headier, a little bit more stuff going on that you have to figure out. Nice little like cat and mouse with a really cool, interesting trap instead of maybe a giant action stunt piece for the end. And then there's the ones like this and Fallout and dare I say 2, that like the action, the adventure takes the center stage over what they're trying to figure out by the end. They're just trying to snap a red wire to stop a bomb. while a fight is going on and missiles are coming everywhere. You know what I mean? Like there's the ones like part 1 is not known for its action scenes. It's known for Tom Cruise pulling the thing down like the TV show and him jumping, and there's like an aquarium blowing
explodes,
up. Yeah. So this one falls perfectly as one of the best in that, like, it's not stupid. Steve, I think you said like it insults your intelligence or something, or were you not referring? I don't know, but it's not stupid. It's just an adventurous movie that doesn't care that much about the villains, and it doesn't really care that much about the plot, whereas 5 does, you know? So.
Well,
sorry, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, no. You totally did. I want to say hello. Okay, so Canadian Spider-Man says Maverick was so good. True story. Hey, Spidey. And then Old Man Bird says, yeah, it was good. Didn't want to like it, but I was forced to enjoy it because it was good. I kind of feel the same way. I think that the first 3 movies are an origin trilogy. We get Ethan being promoted to section chief or whatever the hell he is. Just he's the new Jim Phelps. Get over it. And then Mission Impossible 2 is he being all cool and shit, and he's going to fall in love. And then in Mission Impossible 3, because Tandy Newton wasn't available, we get Michelle Monaghan. Not a bad difference. And it was him trying to settle down, but the burden that it would be upon his personal life. And we get to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and it's like the extent at which he will perform a Mission Impossible to protect his wife and the problems that go with that. But also, like, it is an impossible mission. This is not a movie with one ticking clock in the third act. There's a clicking or a ticking clock in every act. And it's like, we got to do this in 34 minutes. We have to get out of here now. Like, I had problems in Mission Impossible 3 because they were going to blow a hole in the wall in the Vatican. And in this one, they blew up the Kremlin. And I was like, sure.
Or like even again in the Burj Khalifa sequence where Brandt just keeps saying, not enough time. Not enough time.
Over you know what they say about the Kremlin, Scotty? Can't feed it after midnight.
Can't.
Keep it away from water. Yeah.
Was that civilized? No. Fun, but certainly not civilized.
I think rewatching it, I kind of got the sense now after the discussion. It's like, yeah, the villain may not be like the main it factor. The it factor is how are you going to get yourself out of the situation? Because every single scene is crap. How the fuck are we going to figure this out? But it still works for me because there's still a villain, and he's at 10 steps ahead the entire time. So they just have to, plot armor their way out of the next scene, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. It's fun to watch. So it's like, as an audience member, it's just intelligent enough to not feel like you're being treated like a kid. It's yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Wes Cagel's here. Hey, Wes Cagel, thanks for swinging by. I've only ever watched the first one, so spoilers.
Spoilers for quite a bit.
Movie that doesn't work for me. One thing that doesn't work for me that kind of like feel like it doesn't belong, oddly enough, is the magnetic suit that Renner has to put.
Oh yeah,
I love that scene.
No, I'm with you there, Ernesto.
It's like I can accept everything else, like the mask that never worked. I can accept the mobile green screen. That is the one thing I don't think belongs in this sequence of events.
I'm not going to argue with you guys because I totally see your point. I just think it's hokey, fun garbage when he's in that thing. He's in that whatever the fuck that thing is. Yeah, no, I agree with you guys.
I like that he doesn't trust
I
Benji.
love that scene.
He's like, the tech, and we're not really doing very well. And Benji's like, oh, science is trying to justify. It's like, well, then why don't you do it?
Well, and that's the thing. I think to Scotty's point, which I had forgotten about, like, why does he seem so like, what the hell is this thing? And like, oh my God. And they're like, come on, Brand, get over there and do that. Oh, okay. It's like, wait a minute. he's not a civilian they picked up off the street, right? So I kind of am turning back around to when Scotty said, like, why is he so dumbfounded by everything all the time?
Oh no, this is stuff that was in my locker.
Right.
But I do like the relationship with Benji and Tom here, because it's like he's idolized him to the point that he is convinced that Ethan can do everything. He can punch a comet if it comes to Earth. He can blow a tidal wave away with a breath and everything. That's why he's always putting him in all the situations, because he is convinced at the end of the day, Ethan is going to do what Ethan does.
Yeah,
But that's it's a strange thing when you see Simon Pegg interviewed about Tom Cruise. I think that that's their real relationship. I think it's like, oh golly gee, thanks Mr. Cruise for being my friend. Because I believe that Simon Pegg and Tom Cruise are besties.
He's from Kansas?
No, he's not. He's not. I wasn't going to do a British. I don't know how to do a Tiny Tim. Sorry. But I just think that that's their actual relationship.
Tom, let's go to the Winchester, have a cup of tea, and wait for all this to blow over.
Yeah. But yes. I think that suit is ridiculous.
It is, but you know what? Jeremy Renner's acting in the jump scene was one of the highlights of the movie.
It is.
Yes.
He's probably the best new element of he's him being in that movie was great. I loved it. Yeah.
And when he finally does it, he's
trying to psych himself up, and he's doing lunges.
He fucking saves Ethan's life.
It was awesome
in the building. Like, he saves his life.
Yeah,
know.
You're not gonna make it. You're not helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, the countdown really isn't helping.
No shit.
That was the best one.
That was good.
I love that.
Was good. Yeah.
I feel like that scene where he's being magnetized, I think that was like his punishment for questioning everyone from scene to scene. I'm just like, you know what? As your punishment for questioning all the bullshit logic we're breaking here, you're gonna go into the fire pit. Go.
Now, we'll see that come back in terms of them giving him shit about how dumb luck plays out when we see the next movie.
Yeah.
That's true.
We'll get to that when we get there. But
there are moments where it is lampshaded.
All the sequels, this is the one where Tom looks the most jacked.
I thought so too, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it.
Dude,
I was like,
he really do that? Bouncing up the pole, like, people say he really did that. When the escape scene, when he's got the, I didn't say bouncing on a pole. When he's handcuffed and he's freaking like doing pull-ups to get himself up over that pole in the escape scene.
In this movie?
That's not in this movie.
Shit.
Spoilers.
That's whatever movie that is. That's where he looks the most jacked, in my opinion.
Daniel's
Hot
Hot
Topics.
Topics
Forget I said anything. Forget I said anything.
Daniel's Hot Topics is here and says, do the villains and the big bosses get stronger and tougher in every movie like a video game? No, I don't think so.
No, because the villain was actually better, I thought, in 3 than 4.
Oh, oh my God. Way better. Like, Philip Seymour Hoffman's the best villain of this franchise, in my opinion.
And the DLC.
When you do get to 5, you get more of a battle of wits, which is great, but yeah.
I can't wait to see that one.
6, you got, I'm not saying
Don't say anything else. Scotty and them have not seen the rest of these films.
I know. I just said battle of wits. I just said battle of wits. I didn't say Ethan dies. Oops. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no. I was actually wondering if Jeremy Renner dies. And the crowd goes silent.
Jeremy Renner in part 5 shows up with a bow and arrow, and the crowd just went nuts.
They go nuts.
And then he goes, how do you work this thing? Doink! And he shot an arrow up in the ceiling, and he shot Luther in the ass on accident. And
Well,
we lost the block. Can you get it back?
Pretty far from okay, Butch.
Yeah.
I do feel that again, Ving Rhames gets the last laugh from the people who kind of came out of this movie and are like, "Where's Luther?" And he's like, "See, I told you."
But I don't mind that he wasn't there.
I find Luther. I think he's integral to these movies.
He's very integral to these movies. He's his right hand man. It just was weird. I don't mind that he wasn't there, but it felt missing. That was yeah.
And they do find a place for him, even with Benji still doing field and tech work in the next one. So there's still room for both.
There is something story-wise that does make it make sense to me. And maybe a little bit of lip service, although I don't think it was necessary because they didn't mention Maggie Q. Is that it's like, well, the entire IMF has been disavowed, so you can't call anybody.
Right, but Luther's the type of guy who will show up just to help Ethan.
Right.
Remember when
he was disavowed already?
Remember,
dude,
Ethan they were not sent to. They went to Shanghai specifically to help him in the third movie.
Dude, the agency shut down every single movie. Ethan's on the run every single movie,
except for the second one.
Yeah.
That's the only one which plays out like an actual mission. So ratings or anything else to say?
Did I have anything else that I wanted to say? I probably have a lot, but I can't remember.
Keep going,
now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, stop.
Damn you, Peps.
I can go and say that I think the reason why this is my second favorite viewing experience of a Mission Impossible movie is because it's the first one that is not taking itself extremely serious. Obviously, 3 strong points is that it is very serious because it's very dark. 2 is taking itself seriously at the detriment of itself and making us laugh unintentionally because of it. And 1 is just too serious, which is why it didn't do good against Independence Day and Twister in 1996. This is the first one where it has humor. I mean, they all have a little bit, but this one has the most. And it's that Brad Bird touch, that it just keeps it so much fun. Like Indiana Jones. It's like, all this crazy shit's happening, but it's not that serious, but it is, but it isn't. I don't know.
Well, you can also say that Brad Bird did apply a certain level of cartoon logic.
100%.
Yeah. In terms of people bouncing around. Like I remember watching Rogue One and seeing Cassian Andor fall down where they're trying to steal the Death Star plans. And I was like, you did. And then I was watching this final scene in Ghost Protocol, and like cars are falling, people are falling from different platforms, and I was just like, first things first. Not. Apparently, you're not.
That's where the filmmaking aids the audience member into suspending disbelief. Where it's like, this is so much fun, and visually, this makes sense. These things are happening. Oh, that's so dumb. That could never happen. The way the movie visually gives it to you, it allows you to suspend disbelief without you even knowing it.
Like, especially when Ethan walks out of the Kremlin and he's barking orders in his general uniform. And the second he passes through the one column, he's already taken off the jacket and putting on his touristy outfit. Right when they're in the door is still partly open. So if somebody turned around, they would have seen him. But so it's like a total cartoon. And even though the radar was attached to the balloon, he doesn't give a shit. The wind blows this across the plaza in the direction you need it to go.
I did love the Born in the USA t-shirt, the Springsteen t-shirt that he was wearing.
That's a really great conspicuous shirt to wear.
I was just going to say that might not have been the best choice, but
Well, I still think, at that point, the Kremlin was still intact. So
true.
Anyway, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
You did. You wrote what? Goddamn, this is exciting in the chat this morning.
I did. I was watching it but that's what's been happening rewatching these. And I've never been a big Mission Impossible fan. That's why I like every episode, which I think is appropriate considering it's based on a television series. I've been like, I can't wait to see the next episode.
I've never seen an episode of the show.
I've seen like 4. It's not this exciting.
No.
Although there's a hell of a lot more Peter Graves.
They were fun.
They were fun, yeah. Hey, I'm a 60s Star Trek fan, so And I like Man from U.N.C.L.E. I'm sure that if I invested a little bit more time into Mission Impossible, I'd be like, this is actually pretty rad.
And Get Smart, that was the other third
Get
spy
Smart.
show that was on back then.
I watched all those too.
I watched
Yeah.
all those. Yeah.
Yeah, that spy show lasted for like maybe 3 years in America, 3 or 4 years, and then they just kind of moved on to other things.
I always wanted a shoe phone. Never got one of them.
Me too. So yeah, I think it's great. But I can absolutely, if it strains credulity.
Yeah, for me,
to use my $7 word.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't. It didn't suspend my disbelief in places that took me out of the movie. I was like, oh God, what is this? And there's other parts of the movie I loved. So it's one of those, kind of middle of the road movies for me.
Would you call it disposable?
No. Well, not so far. Let me get to the end to really, kind of wrap my head around the series itself. But I wouldn't call this movie disposable. I mean,
Okay.
2's disposable.
Yeah. Watch it and forget it.
2 is an abomination.
That movie right out of it. I'd say you skip that freaking movie. But
all right.
And this is the one first from here on out where they stop putting numbers in the titles. They just have the subtitles to the rest, which I like better.
Yeah. Works
That's
better
funny.
for this franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed Maggie Q and Jonathan Rhys Meyers. I liked their characters, and I thought that it would be cool to see, them kind of progress. But I get the story. The story was, he faked, his wife died or he faked the death. So either way, that obviously he went away and there was no more team. So I understand that. I mean, that's not lost on me, but still, I would have liked to seen them come back.
Well, I think I don't know.
Well, because Benji was still on the team and he knew of Jules, but he believed she was dead too, or
right,
she had quit, or that they broke up or whatever.
Yeah. There was confusion there.
Because Grant says, "Yeah, I heard that story too, Benji," but she didn't. She didn't leave him. She didn't leave him. I was there. She was, killed. I did like that bit how Ethan's like, to set this up. I did like the idea that, you know what? I'm going to bait 6 terrorists into this so I don't have to kill any innocent people. It's like, okay, that's kind of badass. Because he mentions in the beginning when he first gets rescued out of jail and she's like, this is a rescue mission, isn't it? And he's like, no. He's like, the secretary would have left me here gladly unless something really bad was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, why did we bring that weirdo guy? And he's like, why did we bring that weirdo with us? I like to take care of my friends, which is nice because that pays off later in the movie.
You say it very flippantly, but
well, he does take care of his friends. It was nice that he saved his buddy from his cellmate. Okay. His cellmate does help him later in the movie get with the contact Fogg.
Yeah.
Who, granted, does exactly what Ethan, and Ethan didn't tell Fogg to do this. He just knew the Fogg was going to sell him out to the Russians right afterwards. And that was a funny scene too, where the cop is getting all bandaged for his nose, getting damaged in the fight at the Burj Khalifa, and he's like, "Oh, you again? Oh, I guess you maybe catch me another day, comrade." Because they're enemies, but he's still willing to trade information when it's valuable.
Well, what the hell else has Vladimir Mashkov been in?
Oh, that actor?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen him.
I thought I recognized him from something.
But the other actor
was really quite good.
What about the guy who played Wistrom? I don't know
gingers with beards.
Yeah, I don't know, but
well, I guess
I will say.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I want to say that Russian officer, he got it really bad when he got thrown from one side of the escalator to the other, because you can feel that pile drive. I was like, God damn.
Ethan even apologized before he did it.
And the entire theater was laughing because they've never seen anybody get bodied that before.
I did like it when he confronts him at the end of the movie. He just kind of looks at Hendrix lying there dead. He sees the abort on the computer. And he's like, "So you wanted me to find you? We're friends. Oh, so we are friends." Like, and he does this like, hospital? Yes. That was great.
I like that. I did like that.
See, the movie has such a sense of humor to it,
Yeah.
I did appreciate that. I laughed. I think this is the most I've laughed in any of these movies so far.
It's the funniest movie out of all 7 of them. It's the funniest.
So I appreciated that for sure.
So ratings.
Yeah, how many fuses? Let's start with our guest, Ben.
Out of you said fuses. Out of how many?
10.
10.
Out of 10, I give it an 8.
Okay.
I love the action. Full disclosure, this is the movie that got me into these movies. I think I sort of mentioned that when I first got here. It's the first, well, it's not the first one I saw in the theater. Saw the first one in the theater. Didn't like it at the time. Didn't see 2 in the theater. Saw that in Bahrain or something when I was in the military. I don't even remember. It was on some bullshit thing. Skip 3.
It sounds like a Mission Impossible movie. I saw when I was in Bahrain.
Skip 3, and then I'd heard Brad Bird did this one, and I'm a huge Brad Bird fan. So I saw it in the theater, and it ignited me to be excited for every one of these movies after. And so far, only one has really maybe slightly exceeded or matched this one coming after it. So yeah, this is just, it's my kind of action movie. It's like I said, it's not dumb, but it's not particularly smart. It's just fucking fun. It's just so fun, and it's colorful and it's got great action, great actors. So yeah, 8 fuses for Cinema Gold.
Armando?
What did I give the last one?
The last one you gave an 8.
Okay. I think this was going to be a tie, even though I would put number 3 above this one. It's a different sequel. It doesn't have that hard edge to it that part 3 had, but this one is just a whole lot of fun. And it really took the franchise, just like the third one, it took the franchise into that direction and kept going at full throttle without letting go, but brought a lot of sense of fun, which, you can kind of, again, just like we mentioned in the third movie, that the landscape of action movies was changing. This one was carrying the baton as the years would go by. So yeah, I would give it the same rating, but I would put number 3 above this one.
See,
Air 5. Air 5.
Yeah, I'm
Air
going to do
5.
something similar. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do something similar.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to give it an 8. I'm also giving it an 8.
That's not similar at all, Scotty.
Well, no, but the thing is that I was the one who rated Mission Impossible the highest rated of the films. And I'm putting it on par with Mission Impossible, the first one.
Okay.
And that's where I stand. And I think that that's high praise. I think that this is the most tense and most fun I've had with the movies so far. The only reason I really like Mission Impossible 3 is because of Philip Seymour Hoffman. The rest of it, I like Michelle Monaghan. I think it's great, but it's still just like, I'm getting married and I have to protect my family. I'm Spider-Man, whatever, shut up. And so like this one feels like a Mission Impossible. And I think that this is the first Mission Impossible that feels that the way that I want a Mission Impossible to feel. This is a mission that is impossible. And they do it. Not only do they do it, but even Ethan punches the button and says mission accomplished. And at the end of the movie, it's like, you didn't do. No, shut up. I did. I was such a fucking, I don't know why I was grandstanding. I love it. I think it makes it fun. I think it makes a great popcorn movie, and it establishes the franchise beyond love triangles. This is an adventure series. This is kind of like when it's like, we're not doing street racing anymore, Fast and the Furious. We're going to space. And It's like, all right.
So to recap, Ben gave it an 8. Armando gave it an 8. You gave it an 8.
Yes.
Because you took it forever. So Steve.
It didn't take forever. Calm down.
You're repeating yourself.
For me, it's a 6.
All right.
6,
Well, that's higher than I thought you were going to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's a
is fair.
solid
6 is
6.
6 is good.
I will give it an 8 because this is my favorite version of the Ethan Hunt character. like they devoided they got rid of I mean they put in some of that cheese at the end with Jules, which is like but they got rid of a lot of the cheese from the third one, and I like this type of Ethan where he's like, he's team leader and he's got confidence in himself. It's like, we're gonna figure it out type of thing. Whereas admittedly in the third one I liked that it seemed like he was actually gonna fail, and that's something I think they need to bring up more in these movies. But I do like that, like as I opined in the first two movies, it was like him being Tom Cruise rather than Ethan Hunt. And like here he's like more Ethan Hunt than we're not just being regular Tom Cruise in a whatever movie. So and it's fun, the colorful aspect of it. Brad Bird, I think, is a really fun director. Could have used another rewrite for sure. But yeah, I give it an 8. 8 fuses.
Woo!
Bow,
A lot of
bow,
eights.
bow,
A
now.
lot of eights.
Which is fantastic. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing the Macquarie era and see
You're
how
gonna like
that
them. You're gonna
goes.
like them.
I
They're
think
good.
that they're going to be stunt shows. I hope that the stories hold up. I am aware that there are surprises, and I'm also aware that I don't know the names of any of the actors who play any of the villains. So Philip Seymour Hoffman will be my number one villain of the entire series, no matter what. Yeah. So the rest of the show, the rest of the season, because as far as I'm concerned, this is just episodic television.
Series, season, yeah.
Whatever, who cares? But no, I think it's fun. I think it's popcorn cinema. I think it is a roller coaster, and that's exactly what you get when you put your ass in a seat and want to watch a Mission Impossible. I can't wait. Like, this is going to be the first Mission Impossible. When we get to Final Reckoning, this is going to be the first one that I've seen since the original. I have not seen any Mission Impossible movies since the first one came out.
You mean in the theater?
In the theater.
Okay.
This is going to be crazy.
What's the next one? Rogue Nation?
Yes.
Okay. So Rogue Nation
Well, we
next week.
should thank the chat.
Oh, you think so?
I think we should. What's going on in
What
the
did
chat?
they do?
Canadian Spider-Man, I have no idea what you're congratulating me for, but thank you.
He's just happy to see you. Daniel's Hot Topic says so.
Well, he says congratulations, Ben. I finally made it on the Fantasmagorium Show. I think that's what it is.
Oh man. You need a golden ticket. Daniel's Hot Topic says, so I missed the last one. How did Ethan Hunt lost his team in Mission Impossible 3? He kind of retired-ish.
Well, at the beginning of the movie, he's an instructor, and
Right.
because his former student, they figured, oh, you'll be the best to be able to save her, and then in addition to that, she sent him specifically a clue, which is why he gets back into it. And then we were discussing on a behind-the-scenes level, since the third movie didn't do as well, they just decided, well, who are the two most expendable people of the cast that we can blame? Oh, it'll be Maggie Q and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, because we have to bring back Luther, which, again, they would have if it had not been for budget cuts. And we can't fire Ethan yet, so we'll just keep experimenting.
Budget cuts. You're talking like it's Scranton. Old Man Bird says, Wes Cagle at the Phantasmagorium Auditorium.
Yes.
I like that onomatopoeia, I guess. The Phantasmagorium Auditorium. Nightmare Scare says, Seven's villain is terrible. Well, we're a couple of
Rami Malek?
No.
No, dude, that's
not
Bond.
James Bond
That's
movie,
Bond.
Oh, that's
you
Bond.
monkey.
Well, I don't watch either one of these franchises.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I don't know what I'm supposed to repeat. Jedi Master is chuckling with a bunch of womps from
Is
the
that
Super
chicken
Mario
jockey?
Brothers movie. And yeah,
But thanks for the whole chat for being here.
I do want to thank the entire chat for being here, especially the Phantom Organist. Every time he sends a signal, it is delightful to discover that he is alive. And thank you, Lemon Pie, DJ Play Nice, Rock, Swift minus G, dropping some little wavy people.
Swift -1.
Oh, well, it's Matt G. So Swift minus G, Swift -1.
That's Matt?
It's not
Yeah,
G.
it's not G.
Yeah, no.
Matt,
Totes,
why don't you drop a comment in our show every once in a while, buddy?
Yeah, that'd be great. We should start. Well, and we took last night off. We usually do Hump Day Happy Hour on Wednesdays, as you do. But yeah, we're Hump Day Happy Hour over on Cinema Gulp. Ben, do you want to? Are you a wrench here? Can you drop your link in the chat?
I am not a wrench.
You're not a wrench here. Okay.
No.
Can
A
someone?
wrench, not a wrench.
He's a mensch,
No,
not a wrench.
A
That's
mensch.
true.
I will
I
do
think-
it. Just hold on.
All right.
I
Stop
think
yelling
most
at me.
people watching are also subbed, but hell, drop it. Hell
Yeah, man, we got to do it. We got to, and also people, if you're here, thank you so much for being here. And if you're not watching live, thank you for sticking this far through the rerun. Old Man Bird, again, your
Whoa,
gracious
20 bucks.
attendance is fantastic, and I do adore. I saw the thing. I saw the.
That's awesome, dude.
It's so
Super
great. I just wish that there was a better way to present these Shibas or
And we
lemons.
so much appreciate you supporting the channel like you do.
Absolutely.
Every
Yeah,
week.
man.
Awesome.
That's really cool, man.
It
20
is
bones.
fantastic. Nightmare Scene destroys most superhero films. Oh, I get it now. It's a Zack Snyder thing. Yeah, sure. I don't know. I like 1978
Kevin's
Superman
Hot
way
Topic
better.
was here. Wes Cagle was here.
There we go.
Canadian Spider-Man was here.
That's true.
Who
I'm
else?
surprised we could afford him.
Who? Canadian
Canadian
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Nah, he's a cheap whore.
What? So
I hope he finds
Canadian
that
Spider fans,
funny.
Congrats on the 2,000 subs. What the hell are you talking about?
Just
don't think he
talking
was
about
talking about-
ex-girlfriends. That's all.
I
No,
don't know.
I know. So yeah. Well, I know I messed up the ending last week, so if you guys want to kick it off.
Kat, you're on mute.
Oh, she has to burp or something. Yeah, no, she does.
I was supposed to.
She's burping. She's burping.
I was getting Ben's link to put in the chat. And I put my link in the chat. In the meantime, 5,
4, 3.
2.
I'm 4.
1.